Hi everyone, and welcome to Scoot Friday. I'm supposed to be joined by Maciek, our CEO. I'm Chris, by the way, one of the co-founders here at Apollo, and I take care of sales. I hope everyone is having a lovely, beautiful sunny day. It's nice and sunny here in Toronto. Yeah, I hope not a lot of people are watching, which means that a lot of people are riding. Because I have one big desire is to jump on a scooter right now and just go downtown, look at the water, look at the scenes. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. Curious to see many of your faces here today. And questions and comments. So just for context, Alwa is in China, overseeing the A11 Stella, Apollo Phantom Stella production. So he won't be joining. Hi,
Hi
Matic.
guys.
How are you?
Sorry, I'm late. I'm good. Just a couple calls keeping me busy. How are you, Chris?
Good. It's been a while since you've been on the show much. Where have you been? What have you been up to?
Where have I been? And what have I been up to? I don't know. It's a good question, but yeah, I mean it's been pretty busy. I think we've disclosed a couple of the projects we're working on over the last few episodes, so the audience, the regulars, are aware of what we're working on. But obviously, there's honestly a lot of stuff cooking. The Stellar, as I think you were just talking about, right, with Ola being in China,
Yeah.
and the production of that. So yeah, for everyone on the call, I was actually on the phone with Ola last night, and well, last night my time, I guess, today his time. So he was just kind of showing me the production updates, and it's going really well. It's going really well. Every single time we produce a new scooter, there's always a kind of a fear of like, oh, are we going to get any surprises? Is there going to be a delay on something, or maybe I don't know, will the software bug at the last second, and there's going to be an unexpected sort of issue. But they've completed several hundred units now, and they've been fully assembled and tested, and so far so good. So I think it really helps that we've stabilized the 52 volt production first. That obviously had more challenges if you guys saw the YouTube videos of running those productions. But now the 60 volt is really benefiting from that experience and going really smoothly. So long story short, Chris, the 60 volt production seems to be going well, and I know that's been keeping everyone around Ola busy as well in terms of bringing it to market.
Excellent. Yeah, I see a lot of questions here on the Phantom 60 volts. When is it shipping, et cetera, et cetera. It's still on for end of July timeline roughly. Once we get a bit more of an accurate timing, we'll let you know. But yeah, it's getting produced as we speak, and I know Alwa's filming a lot of content, so you guys will see those videos come on YouTube soon, which is always really exciting and just really cool to see. So yeah, no, thanks everyone for joining. Hi Marty, as always. Roger, like you said, I'm sure a lot of people are not watching this and they're out on their scooters, which is great. Ripley, like I mentioned, it's gonna end of July. What products in the pipeline, Marty? I think you know. Jason, hi from Australia. I love how Jason is here every time, because right now in Australia it's like 3:30 a.m. So crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Passion. I mean, that's in Brisbane. I don't know, Jason, if you're in Tasmania or if you're somewhere else, but yep. The blind man, I hear you had a system outage last week. How are things faring? System outage. I mean, Google in general had a huge system outage. Yeah, I think that's what you mean. And then we had everything was down, and because all our services use Google, which is quite crazy. So everything was down, but everything's back to normal. DT Voyager, hi. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, cool. So I guess today we don't really have an agenda. I think we're just going to go through a few fun things, I guess, on the marketing. Yeah, so again.
I would love to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about Apollo Max, because that's been kind of a controversial topic online, and I think what better group of folks to discuss it with than everyone here. Which I mean, honestly, like I said, at the end of the day, we try to do things to keep you, our riders, happy. And the last thing we want to do is do something that's going to have the opposite effect. So I thought maybe what we could do is share a little bit of context around sort of why we wanted to develop a paid subscription and sort of what was the thought process behind it, and then get your take on I guess which part of it resonates, which part of it does not resonate, and most importantly, why. So Chris, if you're open to it, maybe we could take a few minutes and just kind of chat about that, and then take questions for the rest of the show.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it. Go for it. If you want to give a bit of context on that for some of the people who haven't seen the posts.
Yeah. So for context, folks, Apollo Max was this idea of really creating a feature set that would tie together the best and the most advanced offering from a software perspective for our most active riders. So basically, this is a program that targets heavy users, people who ride their scooters a lot, that would really benefit from three things in particular. The first one is extended range. So the way that this works is that every battery has a voltage max and a voltage min, right? Like that's pretty standard. Everyone here is obviously pretty advanced when it comes to scooter tech. So you're obviously very familiar with your voltage ranges. Over the last year, we've been working with our battery and controller manufacturers to find a way to safely lower the voltage cutoff point. And it's not it's not as straightforward as saying like if your voltage cutoff is X, let's just lower it to 5 points below and voila. There is a lot of complexity with how that last bit of voltage gets discharged in order to avoid battery damage, which is why it needs to come with a speed limiter, such that, let's say, if you hit that point in your battery reserve, your scooter speed drops to something like, let's say, 15 miles per hour, and then you're only able to discharge much less at any given point in time to still have protection built in. So long story short, there was quite a bit of technical sort of complexity that came with it. And that would be one of the features that's offered as part of the subscription, which for context, we're thinking about pricing it at $1.99 a month or $19.99 a year. So this extended range, I think for the Go, we were able to achieve something like an extra 2 to 3 kilometers. For the Phantom 2.0, which is the other scooter we would be rolling this out for next, it would be closer to, well, this is still pending testing, but from what Elba mentioned, and I want to be very, very careful here not to say this on record, but it could possibly, hypothetically, potentially be up to 9 kilometers of extra range. So, something like 6 miles of extra range because the battery capacity is bigger. And then what we haven't disclosed is that we're also working on that kind of a second side of this whole range extension feature, which will be an AI model that dynamically adjusts your riding settings in a way to allow you to maximize your range. So we did a lot of analysis, and Martin Brenner, you've been kind of the guinea pig for this. So for context, guys, if you're still listening to my ramble, Martin Brenner recorded countless rides on his scooter, and he would repeat the same run with acceleration set to 10, with regen set to 10, with kick and go turned on, turned off, and basically, gave us a data set to go off of to understand how do all these different settings actually impact range and battery consumption. And from there, and ultimately from many other rides, we were able to develop a model that we believe can allow you to achieve up to 25% more range if you use the correct settings. Correct settings being lowering your acceleration when you don't need it, increasing your regen when you can, turning off kick to start, lowering max speed. Again, it's not about reducing what the scooter can do. It's about not necessarily wasting power when you don't need it. And that's where the AI comes in. And it would perform these changes in a subtle but dynamic way while you ride your scooter. So it could say, oh, Chris, I see you take this hill to work every single day. Why don't I reduce the top speed just by 20% before you hit that hill? And so it's a pretty unnoticeable difference, actually, about a 20% top speed reduction, but it can have an exponentially positive impact on your battery drain. So anyway, long story short, you got two sides to this whole feature number one. Feature number one is range boost, which is that extra reserve that we're looking at unlocking, combined with this AI optimization that drives up to 25% of extra range through dynamic range improvements. So again, you can see how this makes sense for heavy users, people who kind of ride a lot and really want to be able to depend on their scooter to get them where they're going. Feature 2, and I'll stop very soon, I promise, and then we can go through the comments. Feature 2 is all about support. So we know support is obviously really, really important. And the first point here is that a lot of our heavy users want to get access to not just kind of like the front line of CX. So people who maybe are less technical, but they want to go strict to the technical support, and they want to do it without waiting. So obviously there's a cost associated with having someone trained and available pretty much on standby for these kinds of requests. So we're looking at basically giving access either via chat or maybe down the road even via video support for anybody who is who's going to be part of the Apollo Max subscription. And then the last and for now final feature set, it's unlocked and limitless Google Map routing optimized for e-scooters. So Google Maps actually has dedicated e-bike and e-scooter routing available. But for anyone here who has experience developing apps and working with APIs, you will probably attest to the fact that it's incredibly expensive to actually ping Google and get that data back every single time you route or you want to navigate somewhere. So that's why it's limited up to a certain number of like uses per day in the free version of the app, and then it would be unlimited in the Apollo Max version of the app. And that's kind of the starting point. And the idea is for us to keep building out from this feature set to continue to add more value. And then down the road, we would love to offer something like extended warranty kind of in parallel to Apollo Max. So those would be the kind of two services that you'd be able to pay for over and above the cost of the scooter. Why are we charging for it and not making it free? That's the first question. The very simple answer to everyone here is that we don't make nearly enough margin when we sell scooters, courtesy of brands like Segway, GoTrax, and New, which have just materially deteriorated the average selling price for the entire category. So the way we're looking at it is we can continue to develop these exciting and I genuinely believe valuable features, but we can only do it if there is support from riders and partial funding of the development of those features from our riders. The other alternative is we basically keep the app and everything else as is, and we don't really continue to develop the app. And there is no need for charging for subscriptions. There's no need to charge for the Apollo Max feature set. But we also just won't continue to invest in that development. So like that's essentially the crossroads we're at, the decision we have to make. Is there enough support from the community to chip in and partially fund the development of those features, or not? And that's okay too. But we simply need to start focusing on where we want our resources to be spent. So that's essentially it. I don't know if I haven't been reading the comments, Chris. It seems like there's a bit of a debate going on.
Yeah, I think again, like just add on to Match's thing, like guys, I see the comments, like I see, Perkins or Chucky Bo Bucky. Yes, you're frustrated, you don't want to pay for it. That's completely fine, but you guys have to understand, right? There's like either what we do is we take the initial scooter and we increase the price of the scooter, and you'll still have a great Apollo scooter and these features, but the price will be a bit more expensive than Segway and New. Or what we do is we keep the price competitive with Segway and New and just don't have these features similar to Segway and New. Like New doesn't have any, like the app is terrible, everything else, great, if that's what they want to compete on. Or we, still give you a good amount of stuff and then charge for the Apollo Max, which is like $2 a month, which is nothing compared to Strava or something, which is $20 a month. So again, like before jumping to conclusions and jumping here and saying, everyone's doing AI and, this is how much more money we're going to get into it. It's not for profits. It's really just for the innovation side. So again, we're listening to the feedback and that's what we're trying to understand. It's not really a price grab to make more profit. It's essentially to, like, again, these things cost enormous amounts of money to develop. So we just want to understand the different sides of it. So yeah.
Yeah, Chucky Bucky. Yeah, I mean, It's very straightforward. You don't need to participate. First of all, this is obviously just a discussion we're trying to have with the community. But if you feel so strongly about paying 199 for what I think is a pretty compelling offer in the form of up to 25% more range, direct access to technical support, and in the future several other features being developed. I don't think you're necessarily in the majority here. From the surveys we've been running, it seems like, that 199 a month price point seems, again, like an incredibly low entry point for the value that's being offered. I would be curious to hear, from your perspective, how do you justify paying the salaries of a development team of highly skilled and competent support employees, while, again, Segway, New, GoTrax, all these brands are heavily, heavily, heavily deteriorating the price that every scooter company in the category can charge, because they're producing in the hundreds of thousands of units, which is not something that we can do with our scale and our size. So again, if you have any insights that we're missing, I'm all ears. But I'm relaying the situation that we've come to agree on as a company, which is we can either continue to develop these features that come at additional costs, and in order for that to be feasible and sustainable, we need to collect some revenue from the community, or we stop the development of those features. We cap our capabilities from an app perspective at where they are today, and we don't charge for it, and that's also okay. But what I'm saying is we can't keep developing them and not charge for it, basically.
Yeah.
That's essentially what we need to decide on.
And just seeing the comments and what people, I think what gets people sensitive is that they think that we're capping, like we're taking the range of a battery and then capping it down to 75%, which we're not doing. We're putting more expensive components in the scooter to allow it to have better range. So the Go that you bought last year and the Go that you buy now that has the Polo Max will have the exact same range. So we're not capping that, and we're not like limiting anything that you have versus like BMW with seat belts. Like I think that's not the greatest example, but I agree with Marty as well. Like having something like IoT that as well, costs a lot is another added feature. We can go, again, it's too complicated, but it's one of those things that show direct value. So I think what we just need to do is see, again, make sure we're not limiting what you guys have already at Apollo. Like even quality customer service, it's like we'll still have the same customer service and you get back to you and then 28, 48, 24 to 48 hours. But this would be like advanced video chats at all times, or like small things that are just much more on demand to give you a much better experience. So,
it's a fine line. Just to give you a taste of like what other features we're thinking about developing, is we're also thinking about leveraging it. So like I guess I don't know if we've actually looked at the back end on this live, but we track hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in some months, millions of kilometers or miles traveled on vehicles on a monthly basis. And now with all this data, the question is, how can we leverage it to actually make the experience, the riding experience, the ownership experience better for everybody else? And a key point there is to say we are starting to be able to pinpoint when specific issues occur on scooters based on the mileage that scooter has been put on, or put through. So let's say at 1,000 miles, we can see that maybe tires are getting worn out, right? And this is just hypothetical. At 2,000 miles, we can see that brake pads are starting to get worn out. So we also wanted to get to a place where you don't have to wait for your parts to basically say, oh, like this is now basically just the tread is gone, right? Like the tread is gone and you need to replace your tire. We want to get to a place where we're giving you the resources via the app to say, hey, like your tire has this useful life of so many miles. You're at 75% of the way there. We recommend you start thinking about this, and the evolution of that would actually be to say, we're going to take all the error codes that the app and the controller and the motors and the battery already produce, and say, you don't actually need to, go to a repair center. You don't need to actually, call Apollo. You're able to diagnose the issue and be guided through the repair process yourself. And so all of that, I guess, work that goes into maintaining your scooter and repairing your scooter in the event something goes wrong, or I don't know, you get into an accident or something, can again be handled through a very, very well-trained AI. So again, this is just an idea for now, but we have all this data. So in theory, it is possible for us to look at when do issues occur throughout the ownership journey, and how do we pull that information up ahead so that people who own scooters on the earlier in the ownership journey can essentially be warned in advance that these issues can occur and how they can get ahead of them. So again, curious to see if that resonates a bit better, or if you think that it's not really necessary and it's just overcomplicating the ownership experience. And the last point there, just the last point there is just because I saw a couple of comments about Ludo. Like Ludo for us is a signature feature. We will never paywall that. So we have several things that we kind of consider like Apollo signature features, whether it's the region brake, whether it's the the stem light on the Apollo Go, the Apollo Phantom, or the Ludo mode. Like those for us are the things that make Apollo, and that's what you get when you buy the scooter. There's never going to be a situation where any of the things people love the most about our scooters will be behind the paywall. All we're talking about now is incremental features that don't exist today that would be paywalled. Sorry, I cut you off though.
No, I was just reading the comments again. Some of these are great. So thanks for the feedback, guys. Like even for you, Chucky. Yes, it's very. I mean, the warranty one is a bit harder. An Apple device is very cheap to ship, etc. It's very easy in the US. Scooters, the biggest issue on warranty subscription is the shipping. It just costs an absolute bomb. So it's very hard to actually not to lose money on that one. Ionis, just very quickly, a quick summary. We're talking about Apollo Max. It's a subscription service that essentially boosts the range of your scooter by we add more components into it that gives you a better range. You have access to better quality customer support and new features in the future, like Ride AI that optimizes your range, etc. We wouldn't be limiting your range or anything. You'd have the same range of the Apollo Go that we've had for the last 3-4 years. It's just adding new components to give you a bit more range at a cost of $1 to $2 a month type of thing. And just getting the feedback overall. Was there anything else?
Yeah, and just because I do think that there's a lot of interest in the warranty, like extended warranty component of it. So Chris, what Chris just said is the primary blocker for us today is just the cost of shipping. That's what really kills us. And also, many of you like here, I would love to hear how many of you actually have the box that you can ship the scooter in. Probably not too many. And so you get to this point where we need to solve how to do repairs at home for you, or guide you through that process in a way that's safe and isn't going to cause any damage to either you or the scooter. And again, so that's where how can we leverage AI to guide you through a controller replacement, I don't know, a display replacement, things like this, and give you the right tools, the right parts, all at the right time, so you can actually perform that repair in less time at less cost than it would have taken you to go to a repair center or ship your scooter back to Apollo. So again, I think there's a lot of kind of problems that we can work on solving as it relates to ownership, but you guys, you got to put yourself in our situation, right? Like for us, it's a question of allocating resources. Do we allocate those resources to this specific initiative, this specific project, or something else, or like developing a new scooter, right? Which is like why we always get slack from the community, because we kind of get told you prioritize new launches more than you prioritize existing customers and kind of caring for your existing riders. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to tell you. New scooters generate revenue. Existing customers don't generate revenue. They in fact cost the business money, right? So we want to invest in it, but it needs to, like, we need to find that balance where it makes business sense, like, because we want to stay in business. We want to be a business that continues to serve our riders for many years to come. But you can see, hopefully, through this conversation that it's not just like, oh, hey, let's make more money and start charging for app features. Like we actually do think a lot about how to make this make sense and deliver value, rather than just kind of jump to conclusions and say, well, let's paywall a bunch of features that everybody uses, which is unfortunately the reality for a lot of brands.
And that's the sad part. If we don't do this, like our scooters will still have to compete against the news and segways at lower price points, but then there's no innovation, so you don't survive for a long time, right? So it's just, I think it's just the way we package it for you guys and make sure that, yeah, every company does this, right? Like, I mean, even Tesla, etc. So how do you do it in a way that still provides enormous amounts of value to the riders?
And thank you everyone for your comments as well, Martin. I know you've had some ideas about this, so I'll give you a call sometime in the next few days, and we can chat about this. And Keith, you're referencing insurance here. I guess, is that in the context of extended warranty, or is that something else. Yeah, would love to just get more details on that. And then DET Voyager design scooter with more plug and play elements and fewer wires. I know this is it is easier said than done. And I think a lot of the new gen scooters, are getting there. I think one area where we're working on right now is smart BMS. So essentially having a Bluetooth module on your battery pack that communicates with the app, so that you can get live information about the state of the battery cells and do things like limit charging. I know that's been a request that's been mentioned many times. But again, where you run into challenges is like the app cost for a part like that is $15-20 or something. If we're going to invest time and money into developing the app features that let you limit charging, for example, and give you that additional battery, we would want to make sure that it's usable across all of our scooters, right? So now put yourself in the shoes of Benoit, who's charged with the responsibility of developing a scooter for the mass market channels. Let's say Chris is like, hey guys, I really think that Best Buy has an opportunity to make an Apollo at $799, let's say, right? And suddenly the price point is way lower. We have a feature that only makes sense to implement if all of our products, if all of our scooters use that feature. And so how do we go from here, right? Like adding $20 to the cost to the bill of materials for a scooter that's going to sell for $799 is huge. It's a massive up cost. So again, these decisions need to be made in a way that makes sense and implemented across the entire portfolio, so we can actually reap the benefits of economies of scale. That's why we're sometimes a little bit slower to bring these features to market, let's say, than compared to Segway. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the reality of being not a multi-billion-dollar Chinese government-backed conglomerate, I guess.
Yeah. Just FYI, Segway is doing the same. No? Segway is like charging for their navigation on their new scooter as well. So anyway, it's a whole different. Not to compare, but I think anyway, there's good insights. I think again we'll go back to drawing board. But if there's anything else that you guys have any ideas of how we can implement this without it causing any issues, let us know. I think the sentiment is very clear.
Cool. I guess that's pretty much it. Any other announcements, Chris?
No, nothing crazy. No, not really. Yeah, just enjoy the beautiful weather, everyone. Enjoy your scoots. If there's any last minute questions, we have another minute, so please don't hesitate. The new scooter developments will share probably in the next few weeks, and then we'll share the Phantom Stellar information in terms of distribution stuff. We've expanded to 350 stores in Best Buy US, so the Go is available there, and most of 65 Best Buy Amazon store, Best Buy Canada stores in Canada, and then in Tongi as well with 15 stores. If any of you are looking for scooters and want to see it in retail stores, we're also in the Middle East, we're also in Australia. So all of these, would you have to sign up for the service on the website or the app? The blind manual would be on the app, all integrated in the app. Go Ludo update status.
I think we missed a couple of questions there.
Yeah.
I guess Dave, nice to see you. The Pro is the Pro is going to be ultimately replaced with the 60-volt Phantom, but we're well stocked on parts, so no concerns there. The parts are going to be available for years to come, so no worries. Throttle signal position. I'm not sure what that's referencing. Roger, if you can just clarify. Go Ludo update status. So Carlos, the dev team is working on that right now. Basically, we've sent the firmware update to a small portion of the rider group, and it had a few bugs still. So we're just working through those bugs before we release it to everybody else. Because obviously the last thing we want to do is just like give you more trouble with your scooter than value. So stay tuned. It's being worked on, and it should be available in the next week or two. From Martin, how hard is it to replace the shock on the Phantom 2? I guess you're depends on which one you're referencing, I guess, because they come with different suspensions. But from what I recall from Elwa, it's a standard suspension length. I forget if it's 160 millimeters or some other size. I think if you check out the website, it should have all the details there. but basically it's the like the standard shock size, so it should be fairly straightforward. You guys are better than new scooters. Thank you, lucky boy. But makes our day every time we hear that. I see. Throttle and turning signal are too close. Is that, I guess, you're saying like, can we move the turning signal button away from the throttle? Is that the question, algorithm? If you can clarify. Johannes, would you guys ever consider some sort of a trade-in option in the future, similar to Apple? We are actively working on like the model behind it, basically. Like we're trying to figure out, how does it make sense, and what format does it make sense in? So it's something we're working on. Realistically, it's not going to happen for this summer, but my hope is that we can start working on it this fall and have something ready for next year, because it is something that really, like, honestly, it's something that makes perfect sense for us as a brand. It encourages continuity of usage. It allows you to start with one scooter and then end up with a more powerful scooter down the road, because that's, let's say, what you decide you need. It encourages sustainability and reusing products. Assuming we have a way to kind of take your old scooter, refurbish it, and do something with it, right? So it makes a lot of sense for us. We just want to make sure that we're actually ready to offer that service well. Are you guys planning to expand to the Philippines, Chris?
No, we did before. We went with Thailand. It's a bit too cheap of a market. It requires it's just too far behind, unfortunately, for now. If a dealer or distributor does inquire, of course, we'll be working with them. But for now, we just saw very low sales when we did that with a partner. So probably not for the short term, unfortunately.
Okay. 3-hour charger for the Apollo Go. Let me get back to you on that one. I need to speak to our supply chain team and just understand kind of where we're at with that one. But I'm taking notes. And then Pro versus Phantom. Yeah, I mean, Keith, like personally, I like the Pro more too. Like it's such a just masterpiece of a scooter, and there will never be a scooter like it. But for reasons that we've covered on this live several times, the Phantom just makes more sense. So feel free to go back and check out some of the other episodes. But I think we've talked about this. How long before the Stellar parts are going to be available for purchase, Frank? So the Stellar is being produced, as we said, right now, which means that it's going to start getting delivered, in the next 3-4 weeks. And then the parts will be listed around that time as well, because it's with that container that we will be receiving parts. So we're probably going to list them once we're about to receive them in stock. Algorithm, yeah, that's a good question. Like, how can you create more separation between the throttle and the turn signals? I don't know. I'll ask and get back to you, or feel free to tune in next week and we can share the answer then. Signal plus throttle. Okay, yeah, I think Roger, you're basically echoing the same question there. So super clear, guys. We'll look into it and get back to you. I wish Apollo makes 80-pound weight range of scooters. City is about 65, and then it jumps to 100. So like you're saying we're kind of missing something in the middle. Yeah. I mean, the Sado with heavier scooters, we don't really consider weight of the product as much, because it's not really about portability as it is about the riding experience and the performance it offers. We really start to focus on the weight once we're like sub 60 pounds. So, I won't reveal too much, but we're working on a scooter. Essentially, we're trying to get a scooter that's going to weigh 30 pounds, which is really, really hard if you want like Apollo performance in a sub 30-pound package. But hopefully this kind of explains why maybe the weight looks a little bit more random, upwards of 50 pounds, and much more kind of intentional below 50 pounds. It's because portability isn't really a key consideration for us when we design those big high performance scooters. From Ronan, is there a way to update mileage covered in the app to match the mileage covered on the scooter Phantom V2? It seems that I have lost about 800 kilometers in lost rides. It's a good question for the app team. We'll pass that along as well. Kid scooter, Chris. Pro versus Phantom 52. I don't think we made that one, but Maria, who is behind the scenes here, can you confirm if ESG is working on that video in the end, the Pro versus Phantom 2.0? Let us know, because they are. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so
no, we don't have, I don't have a Pro anymore, unfortunately. Sorry. We have short videos of the two, like Elwa doing on the Formula One track, etc., so we can share, but the Phantom is faster.
Yeah, but I guess if the ESG is not making that video, maybe that's something we could explore ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Pro versus Phantom. Man, I'm leaving these calls with so much homework. I feel like this is this is good.
Is there a new city in the works?
Is there what, sorry?
A new city in the works.
There's always something in the works, I guess, depending on what you ask. So Elwa, the way Elwa works is that the second the scooter is released, he's already thinking about the next iteration of that scooter, which is both his best and worst trait, because it basically, the loop always repeats. But in the case of the city, it's been on the market for long enough that it actually deserves more than just a refresh. It deserves a redesign. So yes, Elwa is working on a city redesign, but right now it's exactly that. It's just a design at this stage, no prototype, no nothing. So it's pretty far out from I guess being ready to be sold. So I wouldn't hold my breath for that one yet. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. There's a question about the Stellar. When will the Stellar ship if ordered in mid-April? Also, when will the embargo drop for YouTube reviews on the Stellar? So I'm pretty sure if it's ordered mid-April, it's going to ship at the same time as everything else. So Harper, really the distinction here is, are you in the US or are you in Canada? If you're in the US, I believe the ETA we shared is, from what I recall, we're now end of June. So yeah, I think it's going to be closer to mid to end of July. And then if you're in Canada, it's probably going to be about a week later, because the first container is going to the US, the second's going to Canada. And the embargo for Stellar reviews is dropping very soon. Really, the reason it's there, it's because we don't have any samples to send out to people. So now that the production's kicked off, we can actually airship a handful of units for additional reviews. So it's coming in the next few weeks is the short answer. Okay, we're like way over time. So are there any other questions that we can urgently answer? Chris, anything from you?
Nope.
Okay, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We know that there are a million things you could be doing on a Friday, so we appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. I've got all the questions noted down. Stay tuned for the episode in 2 weeks. We'll try and answer all of them in that session, okay?
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Ride safe. Bye, guys.